This podcast is powered by the pros at Paschal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPaschal.com.
For now, we talk with our friend Kevin McPherson, Pig Trail Nation, who joins us. Kevin, the news officially this weekend, Arkansas will play the Illinois Fighting Illini on Thanksgiving, 3 o'clock. It was reported weeks ago. Now it's official. How big of a game is that for Arkansas basketball brand as a whole heading into that upcoming holiday?
Well, I think it's a big game. Look, Illinois has been a strong program in the Big Ten. Underwood's done a really good job there. This is a game that could have happened, 3 seasons ago in the Hall of Fame Classic, and that's the trouble you have with these formats where it's a tournament format, feast week, and you see a lot of these situations where you see the field and there's ranked teams, but they need to win and you need to win, or things are going to fall just right. And Calipari, if you look at him traditionally, he kind of shies away from those events. He likes to know who he's playing. And so it's not a one-off. It's part of a 4-team, multi-team event that I reported on over a month ago. But it's also not a tournament format. So you've got that game on Thanksgiving Day. Both teams will play the Little Rock Trojans, Maryland Eastern Shore, on their home courts before they'll meet on Thanksgiving Day. And so that multi-team event allows Arkansas to get to 13 non-conference games. And again, it's not a tournament format, so I like the matchup. I think it's the start of about a 2-week period there, guys, where Arkansas is going to play high major opponents away from home. You've got that T-Mobile Center Kansas City matchup. It's coming on CBS Sports, by the way, nationally televised game, which adds to the luster of it during Feast Week when all these other tournaments are going on. It's a single game. It'll follow the NFL game on Thanksgiving Day. But then Arkansas goes to Miami on December 3rd, and that's part of the ACC-SEC Challenge, the second one. And then a week later, it's Michigan in the Jimmy V Classic at Madison Square Garden in New York City. So, again, you've got 3 games away from home, 1 true road game in there. I like those matchups, but it starts with Illinois during Feast Week.
Yeah. So, Kevin, how do you imagine these things go? Is this an opponent and an idea and a venue and a network that's all handpicked by Calipari, or is this idea brought to him by CBS? How do you think these matchups originate? Because in my mind, I think Calipari's probably the one dealing the cards more than they're being dealt to him.
I agree. That's where I was kind of making the point and differentiating. Everybody likes the Maui tournament. Everybody likes Battle Fort Landis. There's other ones that are out there. And there's usually really good fields in there, and you're going to play somebody decent. But you're just kind of in a mix of in a situational. I mean, go back 3 years ago to the Hall of Fame Classic. Illinois was ranked, but Arkansas, that was thought to be the matchup that was going to be the championship game of that 4-team field. It didn't play out that way. Cincinnati upset Illinois. Arkansas beats Kansas State, then plays Cincinnati. So just looking at that situation, that didn't really play out. That wasn't the matchup that everybody was hoping for. And I think Calipari likes to he's got the cachet to deliver on the games that he wants to make sure happen for his teams, and that's a great way to do it. I don't think a lot of teams and programs and coaches have the kind of leverage he does. And again, Illinois is one of the better teams in the Big Ten. It's going to be a really good test for Arkansas. That's a program that is replacing most of its from a really good team last year. Most of its roster, similar to Arkansas, but they've done a really good job recruiting when you look at not only the high school ranks, but when you look at international players as well as the portal. And so there are some similarities. And then you're going to have the twins, Big Z and his twin brother Thomas Love, who has joined Illinois' program. And so you've got dueling 7'2" big men. There are some cool storylines there. But I think the question you asked about John Calipari, it's all about his clout, in my opinion.
Yeah. So you mentioned the Miami game, the Michigan game, Illinois. We know that UA Little Rock is on the schedule to get to 13, and I might be missing 1 or 2 others that have come along the way. How many more blanks do we need to fill in, and when do we get the schedule handed to us? Season tickets are sold out. People are starting to try to make plans around this basketball season more so than anything else. When do you expect the schedule to be officially released, as we've gotten a lot of details to this point?
Well, I think so. We know of 10 games, 3 more to go in the non-conference. I'm hearing, I'm hearing John Rothstein reported with CBS Sports. Speaking of CBS, that the SEC is likely to put out its full schedule as soon as tomorrow, the 20th.
Wow!
And so that's for league games. We know the matchups, but we'll learn the playing dates and potentially the television designation for those games, probably game times to some degree. So then the question you're asking is, when's the full schedule? I mean, you would love it if Arkansas would go ahead and drop the full non-con schedule today as a lead up to tomorrow's announcement from the SEC with all those matchups. That would be ideal, especially for someone who's like me, who's a basketball junkie and can't wait to see this. A lot of fans are the same way, even though football season's getting cranked up. So I don't know how much more patient we'll need to be to get the non-conference part, but we should have the SEC slate of games as soon as tomorrow, and I think there may be a surprise or two still left with 3 more matchups to name in non-conference. I think there may still be another marquee kind of game that gets announced as part of that.
Kevin, it's one of those surprises you talk about, playing the Baylor Bears in Dallas. Seemed to be a possibility that I've heard some national college basketball guys speak to.
Yeah, that could be. I mean, it's likely to be. Calipari's talked about Arkansas playing a regular season game in Dallas. They were still working through that at the times he spoke on it, which wasn't that long ago when he had that press conference to cap the summer work before they took a 2-week break. So that was just a few weeks ago. Houston was a team that I had interest in seeing Arkansas playing in Dallas, but Houston's already released its non-conference schedule. The Hogs aren't on it. Baylor out of the Big 12 is probably one of the top 2 or 3 teams in that league right now. Arizona's going to be a new team in that conference as well. But Baylor, that would sit fine with me. That's Scott Drew. That's a strong program nationally. Certainly been one of the better ones, along with Kansas and Houston in that league. We know Arkansas played Baylor in the final Big 12 SEC Challenge a couple of years ago in Waco. That was a road game, a very close game.
Great game. Mm-hmm.
It was a great game. Arkansas ended up on the short end of the stick that day. But I think that'd be a great matchup. It's close enough to Waco. It's easy for Arkansas fans to get to. Calipari showing with that Kansas City game against Illinois that he wants to schedule these neutral site games when he can. Where the fans can get to it. So I think it would be great.
Yeah, and you and I sat next to each other by that game, if I remember that correctly, how that game concluded. Kev, one more for me. I don't know if Tommy has anything else. You mentioned the 2-week break. We've talked so much about Arkansas football, fall camp, coaches, what they're doing right now, not just that, but recruiting. Kind of what is Arkansas basketball, if anything? What are they doing right now as class gets going today for the first time?
Yeah, I think what you're going to see is, because Calipari said they really used the summer, June and July. They had 8 weeks. Now it was limited practice time. They used it for individual development. There was some competitive stuff in there. But I think, you're going to start to, now when you get back, get guys acclimated to installing offense, defense, situational plays, different things that you do now that you've established a culture that you want for your program, as well as helping guys get better and develop individually. Now you want to see what they look like coming together as a team. So I think that is really the storyline moving into the work they're going to do. It'll be more limited practice for a while, then it'll ramp up, and they'll have more time on the court each week, obviously, as they get into October. Then the season obviously will tip off early November. I think November 4th is a Monday, and that's the first day of college basketball games.
Kevin, we'll leave it there, man. We appreciate you hopping on with us this morning. And like yourself, I think a lot of Arkansas fans are really anticipating maybe the release of the SEC schedule and the non-conference schedule here in the next few days. Appreciate it, Kev.
Thanks, guys.
BetOnline is your #1 source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.